Hello, you're listening to Lists and Other Things That No One Asked For with Jesse Barbin, your weekly mini podcast about books, movies, TV, growing up, etc. Thank you for listening. This week, we're ranking our vibes. I got thinking about this because in stand-up comedy, a good practice is to make fun of your appearance to kick off a set. It's a good way to be self-deprecating, and it's an easy joke to make. I recently went to the Middle Ground Comedy Festival, and Olivia Bailey opened with how she looks like Dustin from Stranger Things, and it slayed people. I want something like that, only I can't think of any recognizable person that I look like except maybe a live-action Peter Griffin. But that's lazy. It's an insult that gets thrown around all the time online, and also I'm not a big fan of Seth MacFarlane, so I've ruled that out. I could say something funny about my overall vibe, but these days I don't really know what vibe I put out. I've thought of asking a crowd to shout out weird things about my appearance as a bit of crowd work, but I worry it would just become a free-for-all roast, and my frail ego could not take that. So, on my own, I've had to start going over vibes that I think I do put out, and here's what I came up with. Number one is I put out divorced dad. A lot of times I'll take my kids somewhere on a Saturday to give my wife a few hours break, and people will always talk to me like I'm divorced. I can't even count the number of times at a store or restaurant where someone has said to me, "Oh, you have your kids this weekend." Bro, I have my kids every weekend. I have them every day. It never ends. Don't be making assumptions about me because I'm dumpy and sad looking. That's offensive to me, and it's also offensive to divorced dads who are not all dumpy and sad looking. I also present as tired. I'm really pale, and the skin under my eyes has always looked a little bit dark and baggy, and I remember one of my elementary school teachers asking me if I was getting enough sleep. I told that to my mom, and she said to go back and tell my teacher, "That's just your face." It's only gotten worse as I've gotten older because I never sleep. I waste a bunch of time at night and procrastinate going to bed since that's the only free time I'll get in a day. I try to make the most out of the time the kids are in bed and I'm not working. My wife and I watch Hulu like crazy and pretend like tomorrow is not rapidly creeping up, and before you know it, there's not enough hours left in the evening to get any decent sleep. Another thing I think I put out is sad. It's just how I dress and the aforementioned things, and I mostly kind of just have a resting frown. The other day I was eating Taco Bell tacos, stopped at a stoplight. I don't always do this, but I was in between appointments and I was in a hurry. I must have looked kind of pathetic, or maybe I was just eating tacos way too intently, because at a red light I looked over, and in the car next to mine there was a teen girl looking at me with kind of a pitying look. Like, oh, look at this poor sad fat man eating alone in his car. I smiled at her so she would know that when I'm eating tacos in the car is actually when I'm the happiest, and there is nothing sad about this. I should also point out, as previously mentioned, I'm an overweight person. I feel like that one, though, is too easy to comment on, and it also reinforces a lot of fat-phobic things that I don't really care for. I don't know. Either way, I've ruled it out. So, these are my vibe weaknesses, although I feel like I do have one or two vibe strengths. First, I'm tall. Actually, that's probably the main strength. Actually, that's probably the only strength. Being tall sometimes lends you a certain amount of credibility or authority, even if you don't know anything or if you're nobody important. What I can say about this at the top of a stand-up set, I don't know. Another strength is I wear glasses. A positive aspect of wearing glasses is it makes people think you're smarter than you are, when in reality, it just means that you have bad eyesight and maybe inferior genetics. I have to put them on first thing when I get out of bed in the morning just to perceive the world around me. A negative connotation of wearing glasses is that some people equate wearing glasses with being a hipster, which I assure you is not true in my case. As I said before, I can't see. I guarantee you I've been wearing glasses since before it was fashionable to wear glasses. To be fair, with glasses websites, you can get some pretty cool, cheap glasses, and I have some cool, cheap glasses, although none of them cost me more than $9.99 plus shipping. I have a pair of glasses that are green, and if you're a man over 60 and you see me wearing these, you immediately get triggered and have to comment, usually in an irritable manner. It's like, oh, we're just wearing green glasses nowadays? Boomer dads hate it when you wear anything other than a primary color. When I was growing up, it was kind of a nerdy thing to wear glasses, so for a long time I wore contacts to avoid the glasses stigma. Once as an adult, I was wearing glasses at a comedy club, and one of the other comedians kept calling me information technology and was asking me if I was there to reset the router. Not a super good burn, but it did irritate me. Consequently, I wore contacts until recently when my eyes decided to just get really dry and my eyelids got very sore and had bumps on them, and it was horrifying. I went in and my optometrist told me that I was just getting old. I didn't even know that was a thing, that your eyelids start to dry out as you age. I knew that things started to break down as you get older, but they didn't tell me everything would break down. At the end of the day, I'm not sure what would be a good self-deprecating thing to say at the top of a stand-up set, so I will just stick to asking people what they do for a living. Just kidding, I don't do this, and neither should anyone else. For next week, if you're playing along at home, I'll be listing the top 10 best dad albums, meaning the best music you learned about from your dad or stepdad, cool older siblings, uncles, etc. Thank you for listening to lists and other things that no one asked for. If you have a suggestion for a list or an idea you'd like me to talk about, please fill out the Google form in my bio and I'll get to it. I'm available everywhere at Jesse Barbin, new episodes every Monday.